Hello, 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 hello. I'm not. Sound like a policeman. It's me. It's James. I'm back. It's mid-September. Just gone mid-September actually. And I'm back again with another video. Another vlog, I suppose. Been mad busy trying to get ready and up to speed for the beginning of my second year of doctoral school, PhD, university. I've spent the last 3 days just just killing myself trying to make sure everything's ready to go because I know I've hit the sort of I suppose the sort of crux, the sort of apex of the research, my research, basically. So I now am at the stage where I need to put it. Finally, after all the delays because of COVID and everything, and lockdown, and university not being open, and lecturers not being there because it was locked down for safety, I've now need to submit my research ethics and let them know what my research is going to be, the methodology, how I'm going to do it, all this sort of stuff. So it's all paperwork basically. The minutiae, you've got to go over everything. Data protection rights, the university's own research policy, prove to them you've understood all of that, that you've incorporated all of that, because you're putting out research and you're asking test subjects, respondents to respond to your research questions and things. So confidentiality, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, won't bore you with that. So that's been fun for the past 2 or 3 days. Looks like I'm. Also, when I started that, finally got a bit of a checkup from the hospital since, well, first time since last December, about my recurring atrial fibrillation, heartbeat that's wrong, and what we're going to do about that next and sort that out and everything. That's going to happen over in Liverpool in England, as I guessed, probably, because up where I am at my local hospital, there's only so much they can do as far as heart sort of procedures go. So the sort of operations and things have to happen over the border in Liverpool. I don't really understand why this has been the case for years and years, as far as I know. I don't know why it's not changed. Don't get me started on a rant about about Welsh Labour, the government down in Cardiff and Vaughan Gethin. Don't get me started. Anyway, the week before last, I was once again invited onto our local community radio program, weekly program by two of my friends, the two presenters and hosts, and the topic, or one of the topics, was are your counsellors worth the money? So I didn't get to say much because, sod's law, my tech started failing, my internet wouldn't work properly, so I missed most of it. There was another counsellor on from Conway who I hadn't met before, so I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he got to sort of speak really. And then right at the end, my sort of internet came back in, and I got to add a little bit, but not much, to be honest. So yeah, I just thought that's an interesting question, really. What do you think? Are your counsellors worth it? Now, of course, for people that don't know, there are two tiers of counsellors who get paid vastly different. Well, I was going to say get paid vastly different sort of amounts. Actually, in reality, one set of counsellors get paid, the other set actually don't get paid at all, which is the sort of counsellor I am. So your first run, your first tier of elected representative councillor is your community councillor, sometimes like in a town where I'm sometimes called a town councillor or parish council sort of councillor, if you're in a smaller sort of village and things. They are basically we're community councillors. It's you're elected, you have to be elected, but it's still technically a voluntary post, so you don't get paid to do it. You do get offered now, for the last 2 or 3 years, uh, which wasn't the case before really. It is compulsory to offer each community councillor um, up to £150 a year to help pay for um, expenses and sort of phone calls incurred while trying to sort of help constituents in the previous, constituents, trying to help residents with whatever in the previous year's work or travel costs and things like that. But that's about it really. If you're if you're the mayor, say for a year, or the deputy mayor on a community council, town council, whatever, you get a little bit more of a stipend. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's about £500 more or something. And of course, that's there to sort of help with pay for things like because you have to go to events, so in the community. So buying tickets to this event or that event, or Christmas time, if I buy tickets to, pantomimes, things like that sort of thing, really. So that's your sort of town council, community council, parish councillor sort of stuff. That's what I am basically. Then you got the next tier of councillors, really. This is how it's supposed to be sort of hierarchically structured, which is your county councillor, your county council, where of course is where the local money's spent. So as a county councillor, you vote on what's put before you by the officers and the cabinet, because I think most councils now are run by sort of cabinet structure. It's quite a corporate structure. I don't really like it. I don't think it's particularly democratic compared to how it used to be before New Labour brought in this corporate sort of cabinet structure thing in councils. But anyway, that's a different debate. And there you are paid. I think roughly, if you're elected onto the county council, you're paid about 14,000 a year, basic. Now, county council takes up a lot more of your time. If you're working, obviously that's a bit of a problem. That's why a lot of county councillors are sort of retirement age or above, because it's just easier to do if you're not working really, because you have meetings during the daytime and stuff, during the month. If you're a councillor and appointed head of one of the committees, like a scrutiny committee or planning committee, stuff like that, that goes up, I think, to around about £20,000. Obviously, more responsibility, theoretically, more work done, reading, documents that come before you and all that sort of stuff, and arranging the meetings and all that stuff, theoretically. So that's why I think that's higher. I think if you're a cabinet member as a councillor, again, I think that's 20 or more. So that's what happens at council. Your average MP, your average assembly member in Wales, or they're called something else now, aren't they? I think, are they called MSs now? Because it's gone from the Welsh Assembly to the Welsh Parliament, I think, next year when they have the elections, and the voting age has dropped down to 16 next year, actually. So quite a few big changes next year. So your average MP, member of Parliament, your average Assembly member, MS, in Wales, in Scotland, I think is the same with theirs. They get paid, as far as I understand, around about, is it 70,000 basic? But I think it's a bit more than that, actually. It might be around about 75,000 basic. But then on top of that, you've got the expenses. On top of that, you've got the what do they call it? See, every time there's videos, the names of things are always there, slip my mind. Assistants getting a flat or a house down where. So say you live in Yorkshire, and you're a an MP in Yorkshire, and that's where your family home is, but you need to travel down to Westminster for voting and whatever, you know what I mean, or debate bills and things like that quite regularly. Um, you get an extra stipend basically to buy or to rent a home there. I think it's supposed to be within a mile of Parliament or something, so you can get there if there's a sort of emergency sort of vote or something like that. I think it's the same in Wales. I think if you're up in North Wales, like our assembly member, um, the assembly members up here, because the assembly's down in Cardiff, so the other end of Wales, um, you've got your home up here, but then you get um, financial help from the taxpayer to have to rent a flat down in Cardiff, a certain distance away from uh, the assembly. You know, so you can be there for debates and business and things. You know, um, obviously, renting a flat in London or Cardiff costs quite a bit. You know, so you're paying for that as well. You're paying for travel to official things. You're paying for official trips for sort of MPs, AMs, and all this sort of stuff. So altogether, it's a lot of money out of the taxpayers' money. Um, uh, but there's the difference here, as I say, where I am on the community council, because most of it's civic stuff. Um, Much of what you're paying for as a taxpayer, local taxpayer, is just the sort of running of the council. You know, employing the clerks and the staff, keep paying for the rent of the offices or whatever, council offices, which are also public places. You know, which you can attend as taxpayers. But anyway, what do you think? Is it worth it? Would you like to see the county councillors and MPs and AMs paid less? Would you like it structured differently? Do you think it's unfair? Do you think it's about right? Do you think community councillors should? I mean, I've always found I'm not someone, but I've always found it a bit strange as a community councillor that you don't really get anything. It's supposed to be voluntary. You don't really get anything, but then councillors who can also because a lot of county councillors are also community councillors. They're two things in one person. So a lot of councillors in real council most are community and town councillors, hold both roles. They've been elected to both positions. Um, so as community councillors, they get paid the 14,000 or more, but as town councillors, they don't get anything unless they want to take up the £150 a year towards phone calls and things. But if you're like me, you're just a town councillor, community councillor. Obviously, you just get to either refuse or accept 150 a year. And I find it strange because I mean, you get teachers and teachers, you get doctors and doctors, you get representatives and representatives. I try and do, and always have tried to do, as much as I can possibly do to help anyone that asks me for help, to put myself out there. Ever since I was lucky to hand out business cards that I've printed off with some of that money each year with my contact details on and all that sort of stuff locally, so that my local residents can contact me if they need help with anything. I do a lot of food bank sort of referrals and all that sort of stuff. A lot of things with sort of people who need housing help, really doing quite serious stuff at the end of the day. And I feel quite equipped to do that because I've spent 2.5 years at the CAB training to do that, learning to do that, and all of that. And I know I've got contacts in the community, so I know where to send people. So I'm quite lucky in that respect. That I know how to, I'm quite confident in doing that because I've been doing it for a long time anyway. Before I became a councillor. But I do a lot of, not like councillor, you do a lot of real work during the week, during the day, trying to help him because you're the first run. You're on the ground, if you know what I mean. You're closest to the ground as a community councillor out of all the sort of hierarchy of councillors, MPs, all that stuff. You're right sort of there in the community. Yet, yet you're supposed to do it for free, really, without much help. Because 150 quid on a phone bill these days for a year's worth of phone bills and other printing cards, things like that. That doesn't cover it a lot of the time. Yet, if and when I get to the county council level, all of a sudden I've got £14,000 in my pocket to help me do the same job with a little bit more, a few more meetings, really. So that seems a bit of a strange disconnect in sort of the gradation of help. And you do need help. I mean, there's been a big debate between me and other councillors I know who don't feel the same as me, but I feel that, and this is what I'm doing with my PhD at the moment, researching this, and as one of myself, I feel that if you're a member of the community and you want to run for community council, county council, MP, whatever, well, it's a democracy. There shouldn't be anything in your way. There shouldn't be any barriers in your way for you to do that, whether you're going to run through a political party or as an independent or whatever. That's how a functioning democracy should work. There shouldn't be any barriers. Now, the fact that if you come from a community like this one where I am, or the one over the track where I was brought up, or West, I've lived for 46 years in economic hardship, still in it, grew up in it. A lot of people are. So even if you want to do it, it costs money. It costs money to get around your thing. It costs money to sort of run in the first place, unless you're part of a party, they pay for you. But if you're not, you've got to do. There's the printing cost, there's the advertising, there's a travel cost, and all the stuff. Everything costs money. We live in Britain. It's one of the most expensive places in the world to live. So if you don't have the means, that's an immediate barrier to you trying to enter your own democratic political sort of thing. That's one of the big problems that I've faced, and I think people who don't have the money, even if they want to sort of get involved, will immediately face. Which is why I'm researching the barriers to working class people into entering politics, or if they've got into staying in politics. Have they been priced out because they just can't afford to carry on? Are there other barriers, social ones, cultural ones? It's quite a complicated issue. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what I think anymore, but I'll be interested to know what you think. If you want to comment down below, please do. I always read the comments. If you want to disagree with me, go ahead. If you want to, you don't have to agree with me, but just tell me what you think, because I'm interested to know. And so that's it for me today. And take care, look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Ciao for now. If I can turn this off.